And Senator, welcome.
Good to be with you, Tom.
What's I see a lot of news I got this morning from your newsletter about taxes and budget cut and Robin Hood in reverse, and I'm just wondering what you think is bubbling to the top here in your mind.
Just an enormous amount of stuff, and I don't want to use too much hyperbole here, but these are momentous moments in American history, and really in the coming months, I think Congress will decide in a very profound way the direction in which this country is going to be going for decades. And essentially where we're at, let me just recapitulate a little bit here. You remember in December, our Republican friends in Congress decided to blackmail the American people and say there would be no extension of unemployment benefits, no tax breaks for the middle class, unless the wealthiest people in this country got huge tax breaks, and we lowered the tax on the estate tax rates for the estate tax, which applies only to the top 0.3%.
Right.
They won that battle. I thought the president compromised far too much, and that's why I was on the floor for 8.5 hours. But the point was they won that. And then what happened just yesterday is in a sense, they won part two of the battle, and that is that they said, well, we're going to shut down the government. We're going to throw 800,000 federal employees out of work. We're going to disrupt the way the United States government functions unless you make terrible cuts for students, cut back on Pell Grants, cut back on community health centers. You and I have talked many times about an issue I've worked hard on, making sure that we have primary health care access through community centers for millions of people. They cut back on that by $600 million, terrible loss. Cut back on the Environmental Protection Agency, big time. Cut back on programs that benefit the poorest of the poor. I did not vote for that because I thought that it is totally absurd and immoral that we continue to move toward deficit reduction solely on the backs of low and moderate income families and not asking the wealthiest people in this country who are doing phenomenally well, or the largest corporations who are enjoying record-breaking profits and in some cases paying nothing in taxes, that these guys do not have to contribute 1 penny to a deficit reduction. So that's the first two stages, and now we're moving into stage three. And stage three, and I know this is a little bit confusing, what was passed yesterday, what you read in the papers today, was a continuing resolution for the 2011 budget. That's for the remainder of this year.
Well, actually until October, right?
That's right.
Yep.
Now what is being debated, as soon as we come back, we're on a break now, Easter break. As soon as we come back, there will be the debate about the 2012 budget. And in that budget, what we are looking at is, I believe that the Republicans today are going to pass that budget, is my understanding. It's called the so-called Ryan budget, which was written by Paul Ryan, a congressman from Wisconsin, who's chairman of the Budget Committee. And he is speaking for the Republican Party. So this is the Republican right-wing budget. And this is really an amazing document, because if these guys get their way, and they're certainly not going to get their way, but if they come close to getting their way, it will radically transform the United States and America in a very, very terrible direction. In many ways, this is the blueprint to bring us back to the 1920s, where working people had very little rights, where when you got old and you got sick, you were out there on your own. When you were reaching retirement age, there was no Social Security there for you. If you wanted to go to college, very hard to be able to afford it. What the Republican plan, the so-called Ryan plan, is about, and this is, people will think that I'm exaggerating or I am kidding. I am not. What the Ryan plan proposes is at a time when the wealthiest people in this country are doing phenomenally well, when the top 1% now earns more income than the bottom 50%, when the top 400 families, 400 individuals in America own more wealth than do the bottom 150 million Americans. Their proposal, and this is somehow involved in deficit reduction, I don't quite get it, is to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the wealthiest people in this country. And in order to pay for those huge tax breaks by reducing the top marginal rate from 35% down to 25%, reducing the top corporate rate down from 35 to 25% also, Not excludes the fact that many corporations pay nothing in taxes, but this is at least the nominal rate.
Right.
In order to pay for that $1 trillion, what they are going to do is convert Medicare into a voucher program. And this would start not right away, but for workers, I believe, who are under 55. So when you reach the age of Medicare, what they will do is let you choose the private insurance company that you want, and they will give them a voucher of something like $8,000. Now, you tell me, if you're 70, 75, and you're battling with a serious illness, how far a plan of $8,000 will get you.
Well, and not only that, in most states, you don't have a choice of insurance companies.
Right.
You've got one or two or three that you can pick from.
But the point is, the company has to make a profit.
Yeah.
$8,000 will keep you in the hospital for a few days, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to have huge deductibles. I mean, it is the estimate is that at least seniors will have to pay twice as much out of pocket as they do right now.
They should call this the Bankrupt the American Middle Class Act.
Yeah, well, something like that. Well, maybe even worse than that, Tom, because you just think there are seniors out there who listen to this program who are trying to get by on $15,000 a year. That's a fact. Millions of people.
Yes.
If you, God forbid, get sick and you have to go to the hospital under this type of proposal, I just don't know how you can do it, because there'll be large deductibles, co-payments, and so forth and so on. Mm-hmm. So it is a disaster beyond belief. Then you got what they're going to do is what they call block granting Medicaid, which really is a fancy word for making savage cuts, which will throw millions of children and others off of health insurance, Medicaid. And then what they will do is also make savage cuts to Pell Grants, to environmental protection, to housing, to education in general, and to every other program that low and moderate income food stamps people depend upon. So this is a radical transformation of what America is about. It is more tax breaks for the wealthiest people in this country and savage cuts in the middle of a recession on those people who are already struggling to keep their heads above water. And this is a defining moment. And I can't tell you what the outcome will be. But clearly now, if there ever has been a moment for working people and the middle class to stand up and say, excuse me, this country belongs to all of us and not to a handful of billionaires, this is the moment. Now, also thrown into this mix, so people don't, I probably confused everybody already, but in terms of the 2012 budget, the other component is there will be, we think, July, June, whatever, a vote to raise the debt ceiling, which is now at, I believe, $14.2 trillion. If, for the first time in the history of the United States government, that debt ceiling is not raised and the United States does not pay its debt, there will be massive chaos in the international financial community.
Worldwide.
And the Republicans are threatening not to do that unless they get their way. So that's where we are.
Yeah, it's like dealing with gangsters. Senator Bernie, my words, not yours.